You've got this sort of quite strange slate of characters. The biggest name, political name, is obviously Nigel Farage, but the focus on him won't simply be what he wants it to be.
Nigel Farage is formally quitting as MP for Clacton. He needed to do that the approval of the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, and she has to grant him the historic sinecure that any resigning MP needs to quit Parliament. In his case, it's the stewardship and bailiff of the Manor of Northstead. And Rachel Reeves threw in, if he wants to spend summer arguing with a bin, I won't stop him. So now Farage will indeed face competition in Clacton from the novelty candidate, Count Binface. Since the main parties won't contest a by-election, all of them dismiss as a stunt. So earlier on Times at 1, Reform UK member and Talk TV presenter Alex Phillips shared this exchange with Count Binface over the coming by-election.
You know, I was talking about democracy in this country, looking as if it's just been thrown into the dustbin of history. And I see in my mind's eye that image of Andy Burnham, who's going to become our next Prime Minister, standing on a stage with a man dressed as a fox on one side and a man dressed as a dustbin on the other side. If you want optics of what is going on in this country with politicians politicking and not governing,
let's hear what the man with the bin on his head has to say. But what's your response to that, Mr. Binface?
Well, firstly, get the name right. It's Count Binface, with an O. I mean, Alex she's making a very good fist of defending the reform position. I sort of applaud her for her work on that. But who is the novelty candidate? That's my question. I came down from to this planet to your planet. I was supposed to be the sort of exotic one, the sort of spoiled ballad with a smile. And now look, all the other parties have run. They're frit. And it's just me versus Nigel in a by-election, which I think the great British people know really shouldn't have been called.
So a bit of a dress rehearsal there. That's Count Binface and Alex Phillips with the reform point of view. Soon it'll be Binface versus Farage. Personally, I can't wait for that. Ollie Cole's here with us, our Times Radio newsroom reporter. Hello, Ollie.
Hi, John.
But there is this lively debate now, Ollie, isn't there, about whether Nigel Farage's by-election ploy has backfired. Now, what is the view on that of the mainstream parties who are boycotting it all?
Well, look, I think the view of the mainstream parties in terms of, look at Labour, look at the Tories, you look at the sort of Burnham camp, a lot of Labour members, Labour advisors that I've spoken to in the last 24 hours are pretty cock-a-hoop about the whole thing. I mean, they see this as essentially a 6-week campaign. We've got a date now, according to Lee Anderson from Reform UK, saying that they're going to propose this by-election in Clacton on August the 6th. So you've got between now and then, where essentially, obviously, a big part of this story is going to be about Nigel Farage and the fact that Nigel Farage is essentially calling a referendum on his own conduct and whether voters believe him or, as he puts it, believes the establishment is essentially the reason he has called it. So there's that question hanging over him. And then you've got the competitors who are, as you heard there, Count Binface, who is sort of going to take every opportunity he possibly can to get media coverage and to sort of wind things up a little bit and sort of have a bit of a nudge and a joke. He took a pop at Nigel Farage earlier on the Times at 1 about, not being in Clacton enough and that sort of thing. So, he is going to play that character. And you've also got the potential of a monster raving loony in there. You've got the potential of, Lawrence Fox, the man who sort of was taken off even GB News, if I recall, for his views not too long ago. He's said that he wants to stand. So you've got this sort of quite strange slate of characters. The biggest name, political name, is obviously Nigel Farage, but the focus on him won't simply be what he wants it to be. And you've also got the reality, as you know, John, and as listeners who've heard, we've been not short of elections in the time that Times Radio has existed, know that we have to read this list of candidates out, every time we talk about the by-elections and the local elections. And we also have to offer people and the candidates due weight, right? So we have to give people an equal share and equal bite at putting their campaign pitch across the listeners. So every time you hear from Nigel Farage, at the same time, you've got a load of broadcasters who are going to have to turn to people like Count Binface and say, well, we want to hear from you as well. Yeah. And so you've got this quite strange battle taking place now on the airwaves.
I'm not sticking my neck out too far when I say when the likes of us ask for, the balancing comment of Count Binface and whoever else is running in Clacton, they're going to say, yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're going to be happy about it because they're going to eat up, some media time and get their name up there. Like I say, the mainstream parties...
It's not going to be the most dignified spectacle, is it?
It's not. And, you know, in a way, that's the sort of beauty of, as Alex Phillips said there, that's the beauty of British democracy in some ways. You know, Keir Starmer became Prime Minister, stood next to a man dressed as Elmo, you know, in 2024. So, you know, there was that. But I found it interesting also what Alex Phillips had to say about the reform core vote and how they are going to see this, which is essentially, you know, that... Yeah, okay, everyone says this is a farce, this is a stitch-up, this is whatever, but Reform's message will be who has made it a farce, you know, and from their point of view, it's not Nigel Farage, it's the mainstream media, it's the mainstream parties who have created this environment by which he is going to the polls, and the farce has been created by the fact that they haven't won a proper candidate against him. So, you know, you've got these two concurrent narratives, and it's going to be really interesting which one wins out at the end of it.
Ollie Cole, as always, great to see you. Ollie, let's talk again very soon.
I've done nothing wrong. I've thought about it hard, and I've decided today I will resign as a Member of Parliament for Clacton-on-Sea, thereby forcing a by-election, which should happen, I hope, in short order. No, I've decided that the people of Clacton should be the judges of my actions. This will be a people versus the establishment by-election. It's a chance to stick two fingers up to the entire establishment, to frankly tell them where to go. And that is why I will be putting my name forward to stand in this by-election. I will fight to win. I will fight to continue the political revolution that Reform has started. And I would say this to you, the voters of Clacton. If I win, you win. Because if I lose, they win. And we will never, with the two old parties, get the type of fundamental change that we need to fix broken Britain. I will not tolerate intimidation of my family. I will not tolerate the location of where they live being revealed. I will not tolerate any of my family being endangered because of what I choose to do in public life. So yes, you can ask, am I angry? But I've never been angrier in my life. It seems to me that the establishment have now decided that they can't beat us fairly, so they've chosen to use foul means. Let me be absolutely clear. After the furore and the media pile-on, well, not just the media, the other political parties too, let me be absolutely clear. I have done nothing wrong. I have not broken the law in any way at all. I have not misused public money. And you know, for the first 2 years of being an MP, my personal MP expenses are zero. Not, of course, that you'll read about that in mainstream media. We've been subject in the last few months to the use of illegally obtained information, firm evidence of computer hacking, and now leaks from government agencies. And this is all, of course, a great distraction, because we're about to get a Prime Minister who's coming in with no mandate whatsoever. He didn't even stand on the 2024 manifesto. This country needs a general election, even if Labour, the Conservatives and the media don't want it.